Welcome to another In the Mood to Scrap video presented by Two Peas in a Bucket. My name is Janna Werner and today we're going to keep it simple. Instead of creating a mood board with my computer, I decided to use magazines because they offer a lot of inspiration and they have great designs already which you can transfer to a scrapbooking page. The magazine on the left was my inspiration for the colors that I chose, but also for arranging some of the elements. You will see that later. And the other one was interesting to me because I liked the font a lot on the top of the page and the way the photos and the text were arranged. Let's have a closer look at the layout, and you can see the color scheme is nearly as on the magazine that you saw. I did not use yellow. I don't know why, because I really wanted to, but somehow I just ended up not using it. But I have the mint and blue, pink and gray. And I also arranged the elements like you saw on the second page of the magazine. I'm going to show you that while I'm crafting, then you can see it a bit better how I arranged everything. Let me quickly show you the supplies that I am using. I have two sprays from Studio Calico, glue and dimensional dots, scissor, pen for the journaling, ink, date stamp. Furthermore, I'm using supplies by Pebbles, Heidi Swap, Embellishments, Studio Calico and Alison Craft for Webster's Pages. I am also using a collection pack from American Crafts, the collection is called My Girl. I have papers from Pebbles, stickers from Alison Craft, again for Webster's Pages, and I have a grab bag from Smash. So let's start creating the page. The first step is to collect everything that you want to use, and I have a tag and this card and the pattern papers that I want to use. I have the grab bag, which is filled with lots of fun and sweet things. I really like those grab bags. Now I'm collecting single pieces that I want to incorporate into the page. For example, this like tile. I have a white background paper and I am going to put everything that I want to use on the page like I always do. And I'm not gluing anything down, but just trying to find the right spot. Gluing everything down is the last step. I'm going to use the mint piece in the upper part, and as I'm not so much in love with scallops, I cut them off. The next thing I do is I have a look at the paper and look for pieces that I want to use. I'm not going to use an entire piece of paper, but only parts of the paper. And I had this idea to use this I love mini tag and to write something on it like I love to play. I did not like the rounded corners a lot, so I tried cutting it in banner form. But in the end I did not use it at all because it just didn't fit. Then I cut a very thin piece of the gray pattern paper, which I'm going to adhere on top of the page to emphasize the upper part of the layout. And you can see that I just cut it with my scissors, and it's totally fine if it's not straight, because if it's not straight then it gives more movement to the page. I want a few more layers, and I'm using my photo as a benchmark, putting it on the paper, and then I cut around the photo. I keep on putting the pieces on different spots on the page to see where they look best to me. I'm also using a triangle that I will use as a photo corner, but right now it's on the bottom left side and I will move it to the top right. You see that I had the idea of cutting a banner, but as I said, I'm not using it in the end. Here you can see that I designed my page like the one in the magazine. I have the same focal points. I don't want to use any more pen and paper. Instead, I am using embellishments to add more dimension to the page and to emphasize parts. I have these speech bubbles from Studio Calico. This is wood with different words on it, and I'm not sure yet which form, which shape is the best, so I put these aside for a moment and start cutting another speech bubble from the My Girl collection, and this speech bubble will be a counterpart for the wood veneer, which is also a speech bubble. Now I'm using my scissors to distress the edges of the speech bubble. I also sewed on it to add a bit more texture and to let this element appear a bit more interesting. I keep on collecting pieces that I want to use, like the alphabet from Heidi Swap. And here you can see that the color scheme is very alike. I have the mint in the top part, and the happy speech bubble is a bit like the pink circle on the magazine cover. I definitely want to have more embellishments on it to have very intense clusters. So on the left and on the right part of the photo, to emphasize the entire middle part of the layout. And to create more dimension, I put the stickers on paper and cut them out again so they don't stick to the background, and I can bend the edges if I want to in the end. I sewed on the Don't Forget piece of paper, and now I'm going to fix the stripe on the top with the sewing machine as well. I put the papers and embellishments back onto the paper and start creating the title. I haven't glued down anything yet. And these stickers are from American Crafts. They are included in the My Girl collection pack. Now let's have a look at the mini mood board again. And you can see that the middle part of my layout is similar to the design on the magazine page. In the next step, I'm starting to glue the pieces down onto my page, and I'm bending the edges as well to create more dimension and more movement. To let the page look a bit more interesting, I'm going to use my Studio Calico sprays to add spritzers and splatters to the page. After the spray has dried, I am gluing everything down to the page. And as you can see, I'm not using a lot of glue. I'm not carrying the pages around, so that's totally enough. Only having a few stripes of adhesive or just a few drops of liquid glue. And now you can see that I start creating the clusters on the left, on the right side of the photo. And I'm also stamping an image onto another piece of paper, and then I cut it out. Like this, I can adhere it and bend the edges, and that looks much lighter than if I just had it stamped onto the page itself. I have this Amy Tangerine date stamp here, and before I start stamping onto the page itself, I'm trying it out on another piece of paper just to make sure that I have the correct date and everything. I'm putting this sticker on my jacket because I don't want it to stick that much, and this is my crafting jacket, so I don't mind if it gets dirty or if there's glue on it, but it's easier to bend the edges of the sticker if it's not that sticky on the back. I made some pencil lines on the part where I want to add the journaling because I want it to be straight. And I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt pen for that in a very small size. And last but not least, a few more drops of the green spray. Let's get back to the mood board. You can see here is the magazine, and we have some of the elements that are in the scrapbooking page as well, and the color scheme is very alike. This is the other magazine that I chose, and you see the title, the photos, and the other segments that I transferred to the layout. Magazines are really great pre-designed mood boards. It's very easy to find inspiration in them, whether it's the color or the design of a page. And this is my challenge for you this week. Take any magazine you have and either use the color scheme or the design of a page and transfer them to a scrapbooking page. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you soon. Bye bye.